Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Dr. Gregory, and you're watching Dr. Gregory's Meta Moments. This is episode 50. Yay, we made it to 50. Okay, so let's get back into the book, 7 Strategies for Wealth and Happiness by Jim Rohn. I'm loving me some Jim Rohn. He is giving us some really practical tools for optimizing your life and your well-being. We were talking about the 5 words or fundamentals that he was referring to that involve or that play a key role in our success in life. And the first 3 words we had gone through were, we did wealth, happiness. Oh, maybe we didn't get onto the third one yet. Now we're going to do discipline. Ooh, this is a great one. Okay, you guys ready? Let's do discipline. So if there's one critical ingredient for your successful quest for both wealth and happiness, it's discipline. Yet when it comes to this concept, most people reject it as they conjure images of everything from a tough drill sergeant to a strict school teacher waving a ruler. Yet I assure you, the acquisition of discipline holds the key to your dreams and aspirations. Surprised? Then perhaps we should take a moment to define what's meant by discipline. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment, the glue that binds the inspiration to achievement, the magic that turns financial necessity into the creation of an inspired work of art. Discipline comes to those with the awareness that for a kite to fly, it must rise against the wind, and that all good things are achieved by those who are willing to swim upstream, that drifting aimlessly through life only leads to bitterness and disappointment. Discipline is the foundation on which all success is built, and lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. Yet curiously, many do not associate lack of discipline with lack of success, which I find interesting as well. Would you say that? Most people envision failure as an earth-shattering event, such as a company going bankrupt or a house being repossessed. I could see people saying that. This, however, is not how failure happens. Failure is rarely the result of an isolated event. It's a consequence of a long list of accumulated little failures which happen as a result of too little discipline. Failure occurs each time we fail to think today or act today or care or strive or climb or learn or just keep going today. If your goal requires that today you write 10 letters and you write only 3, you are behind 7 letters today. If you commit yourself to making 5 phone calls and you only make 1, you're behind by 4 phone calls already today. If your financial plan requires that you save $10 and you save none, you're behind $10 today. The danger comes when we look at a day and squander it, and then we conclude that no harm has been done. After all, it was just one day, but add up these days. Make a year and then make up these to multiple years and a lifetime, and perhaps now you can see how repeating today's small failures can easily turn your life into a major disaster. Success follows exactly the same pattern in reverse. If you plan to make 10 calls and go beyond your quota to 15, you're ahead by 5 phone calls today. Do the same with your correspondence and your savings plan, and you'll see the accumulated fruits of your diligence over a year and eventually over a lifetime. Discipline is the master key, and it unlocks the door to wealth and happiness, culture and sophistication, high self-esteem, high accomplishment, and the accompanying feelings of pride, satisfaction, and success. So what does it take to acquire discipline? First of all, let me just break in a little bit and share with you a personal story about it. I read this part of the chapter. I haven't read much more beyond this with you guys, but I just want to say I started using that word as a mantra in my head, because I started realizing that I have a tendency to procrastinate certain things that I consider obligations as more so than something I consider pleasurable. And that can add up too. And I have a tendency to be more of a procrastinator than a planner, depending on what it is. And I decided to repeat that word in my head. And ultimately what it did was it brought me to doing those things, those chores or those tasks that I was putting off in a sooner space. I was like, okay, just do it today. Discipline. And it felt really good. And it also reminded me of when I started watching other people who've been on weight loss journeys, which I've been on one before, other journeys where they were really focused in on their discipline. Maybe they were trying to quit drinking for a month, or they were working on creating a meditative space every single day for a certain period of time. I remember seeing the pride and feeling of satisfaction in their face and the amount of transformation that it provided to them. And I remember a lot of people saying that it was more so, it contributed more to their lives than they ever thought imaginable. This implementation of discipline, this focus. And it's now become a little bit of a new pattern of behavior in my life. And I think that's great, right? I mean, it's great that I can use this word discipline, and it's almost like a Pavlov's dog, right? Where I'm responding or to a trigger. The trigger is the discipline. And suddenly it makes me realize, it helps me connect the word discipline to the amount of success and satisfaction that's achievable when you do a little bit down the line. And what's also cool about it is, when you see it as a smaller chunk, like just as a task for the day, it doesn't become as overwhelming as it can be when you think of the long term and stop looking at the forest, just look at the trees again, really focus on those trees, be aware and present with those trees, and realize like, okay, that's only gonna take me 20 minutes. I got this. 20 minutes? That's nothing. Okay, so let's go back to the book. First, it requires you develop an awareness of the importance of discipline in your life. Ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish in my life? What changes do I need to make in order to attain my goals? Ask yourself also honestly, am I willing to do what it takes? If you answer yes, then you need to make a long-term commitment to maintain your discipline wisely, deliberately, and consistently. And one hot suggestion I have is based on a Jack Canfield audiobook I've shared with you before, is to write it down. Write down goals, short-term and long-term. I've been much better about writing my short-term goals down, putting them in my reminders. The procrastination doesn't last nearly as long when I have that reminder flashing in front of me on my phone. The long-term goals I've written in a journal. And I've only gone back to look once or twice since I wrote them down a few months ago. The long-term goals were meant to be accomplished in the next couple of years. And I'm working diligently at them, but I realize that the more I go back and read it, the more I'm motivated to make those small changes every single day. So, your commitment will be tested when circumstances emerge that could interfere with your commitment to your new discipline. Then you will have to perform, come rain or shine. Discipline will do much for you, but even of greater importance is what it will do to you. It will make you feel terrific about yourself. It really does. If you want something that will enhance your self-confidence, freaking discipline, seriously. It's such a good way to build your confidence. The smallest discipline you can have an incredible effect on your attitude. And the good feeling you get, that surging feeling of self-worth, which comes from starting that new discipline. It's almost as good as the feeling that comes from the accomplishment because of the discipline. I don't disagree with that, because it's like a little victory every single day. A new discipline immediately changes the direction of your life. It does. It really does, you guys. I would love for you to go to task today and find one discipline you would like to engage in, however small, and see how long you can maintain it. It's like a ship turning mid-ocean and heading towards a new destination. There are those who believe that discipline is unnatural and that just being is enough, and they consider the need to accomplish to be neurotic and a man-made exercise. The fact is that discipline cooperates with nature, where everything strives. So yes, I do agree that there is a level of flow that you need to take. I don't disagree with that. But that also comes from like the detachment of expectations, detachment of physically manifesting your goal in a certain amount of time, detaching from the timing, and understanding that sometimes that abundance and that wealth, if you will, comes from the smaller experiences, the daily successes that you get, not necessarily just the end goal. Discipline does attract opportunity, and exciting opportunities invariably do come to those who've developed skills, who have the ambition to act. Those who, through discipline and commitment, set their sights high will grab on to opportunities that forever remain unseen by more timid souls. Discipline is the unique process of intelligent thought and activity that puts a lid on temper and a faucet on courtesy. I love that. It develops positive action and controls negative thoughts. It encourages success and refuses to accept failure. That promotes health and curbs sickness. Absolutely it does. It creates a huge chemical cascade in your body based on your thoughts. Anyone can begin the process of being disciplined. Anyone, okay? This does not require training. This does not require school. This does not require somebody else's input. This is all starts with you. You can do it by degrees and one step at a time, right? It can be as small as you want it to be. And the exciting news is you can start today. Don't say, if I could, I would. Say, if I would, I could. And if I will, I can. So start the process and start small. Learn to stick with your new commitment. Out of the seemingly unimportant beginning, you'll learn how it feels to be disciplined. And from there, the sky's the limit. Love it, guys. I'm going to keep it brief today. The next fundamental we're going to be talking about is action versus self-delusion. I'm going to take that on next week. This is awesome. I haven't read this part of the book. I may or may not read it before I get to you guys. I've noticed a lot more engagement with these meta moments. People have been really enjoying Jim Rohn. So if you guys have any amazing quotes from Jim Rohn, please feel free to share them with me because I would love to share them with the audience. Love you guys. Episode 50.